And now, from the capital city, it's Nightique with Edward St. Pay.
Thanks, Jim Pollard, and welcome to Nightique. Well, a report in USA Today says that people's TV watching habits may be actually killing them from sitting around too much, which is no different from USA Today itself, which is only read by people lounging in their hotel room or stuck on a seat in a plane for 3 straight hours. The Chinese Communist Party banned gluttony, excessive drinking, and adultery. Clearly, Mr. Charlie Sheen can scratch his upcoming vacation to China off his bucket list. A recent study at Columbia University shows marijuana use doubled between 2001 and 2013 as more and more baby boomers toked up. It makes sense. How else do you explain organic Doritos? And plans have been approved for a mile-long bicycle and pedestrian bridge spanning the gap between Manhattan and New Jersey. Not much traffic is expected from the Jersey side, though. It's just not practical to dump a body from a bicycle. Well, we've got a great show coming up tonight. Psychotherapist Karen Bonner is here talking about dream therapy, and Patricia Bullock is here from the Mars Network. Stay tuned. Nightique after these messages.
We'll be right back with more of Nightique after these messages.
This is our Gray's Box. It's a great way to snack. Fresh, tasty, and created using only the best ingredients. Choose from our range of over 90 delicious snacks. We'd like to invite you to try a hand-picked box for free. Go to grays.com and we'll send a free box directly to your office or home. It may even help you keep your hand out of the cookie jar.
Go to grays.com and enter the code GRAYS34 for a free box.
Grays.com. Snacking reinvented.
Yeah, I'm a roach whisperer. I've just always had a way with them. Now, roaches are stubborn, nasty insects, and sometimes you just gotta be forceful with them. Hi, roach! Be gone! You're not welcome here, roach!
There is a better way. Bengal Roach Spray. No odor, no mess, no roaches. Bengal Roach Spray really works.
And if whispering don't work, I always got my backup plan.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Ingalls Shipbuilding has pioneered the development and production of technologically advanced, highly capable warships for the U.S. Navy, Coast Guard, and Marine Corps for more than 75 years. Ingalls is Mississippi's largest manufacturing employer. And today, Ingalls has an immediate need for more than 200 electricians at our Pascagoula, Mississippi site. Apply today at www.buildyourcareer.com or call 888-935-1507.
And now back to more Nightique.
Well, Karen Bonner is a psychotherapist.
I am.
But you specialize in dream work, dream therapy.
That's right.
Okay, well, can you tell us a little bit about your practice of dream therapy?
Yes. Dreams can be a very effective tool. It's not the only tool that we use, of course, in therapy, but it can be a very effective tool for people to understand more about what's going on within them that maybe they're not aware of consciously. It brings up unconscious content, maybe unconscious conflicts. Certainly, dreams can provide solutions to problems that we are unaware of, can highlight situations that we need to be made aware of. So dreams can be very important in psychotherapy.
So if a person has a problem and they recount their dream and you discuss it with them, are you able to lend insight as to what the dream means?
Well, my job is to ask my clients questions about the dream, about the individual images that come up in the dream, about the action that comes up in the dream, and connect it back perhaps to what's happening now, perhaps what has happened in the past, and see if we can come to some resolution about it.
So it's mainly, as you mentioned off screen before we went on, it speaks in metaphors.
It speaks in symbolically and in metaphor, yes. It's kind of takes a little bit of practice for people to think about their dreams symbolically instead of metaphorically, but it's well worth it. The symbols are rich, they're deep, they provide many levels of meaning at the same time. To try and think about a dream literally really constricts it. So think about your dreams symbolically and see what happens.
This is a relatively new area of study?
Actually, no. Actually, the person that pioneered what I'm doing did so about 100 years ago. His name was Carl Jung, J-U-N-G. He was a Swiss psychiatrist who was a student of Sigmund Freud's. However, at a certain point in their career together, they had a split in their ideas about the unconscious and about dreams. Jung, for instance, believed that there was a spiritual component in dreams and dream work, and that could not be ignored. He believed that there was a force that was bigger than the individual, that was working through the unconscious, seeking to be made conscious through dreams.
Could it be God speaking to the individual?
Well, that's what I think, yes, and that's sort of what Jung suggested in his work, yeah. Yeah.
So if someone comes to you with a problem,
Mm-hmm.
what would be the first step if you were asking me about dreams? What would you say to me?
First, I would find out if you have a dream to share. If you tell me the dream.
And we do dream nightly. Most of us do.
Absolutely, we dream every night. If we're sleeping well, we dream 3 or 4 times a night.
So we should actively remember the dream, maybe even write it down so we can remember what we're dreaming.
I'm a big advocate of keeping a pad of paper by the bedside and a pen and writing down anything that you remember. Anything, even if it's not like a story, like a narrative, even if it's just a picture or an image, to begin writing that down. I've kept a dream journal for over 30 years. 30 years, and it has yielded such rich insights for me, and I'm teaching people how to do that.
So we would write the dream down.
Write the dream down.
And we should do this over a period of time.
Absolutely.
Will we see anything emerge, any order, any pattern?
Absolutely. Themes emerge. The settings of the dream are important. Sometimes that shows up. If we keep dreaming, for instance, of our childhood home, that might indicate some unresolved issue from childhood. Mm-hmm. Recurring dreams indicate that something in the unconscious very badly wants to become conscious. So we keep getting the same message over and over again, sort of like a blinking neon sign.
Well, how do we take that information and act on it so that we have a resolution to the problem?
Wonderful. One way to work on your dreams is called the association method, where you take each individual image and break it down outside of the story, if you will, of the dream. So if you dream of riding a blue bicycle down a dark street in the neighborhood that you lived in when you were a teenager, and you come across a black dog, you take each one of those elements and break it down. A blue, the color blue, a bicycle, a dark street, where I lived when I was a teenager, a black dog, and you associate on each one of those images and see if anything comes up, anything in your experience, in your memory, anything that might be related to what's going on now, what went on then, and you start working on the dream that way and see what emerges.
So, yeah, I see. We were talking before we went on about this almost being like an oracle, but yet it's our own oracle.
That's right. It's a kind of a personal oracle where our own deeper wisdom is trying to be made conscious, trying to bring things to consciousness so that we can be aware of who we are, how we're coming across, become more awake, if you will, to become more whole.
So as a counselor, you're sort of a guide, and you work with the individual.
I just ask the questions.
And ask the questions. And then do you reach an aha moment?
hopefully the client reaches an aha moment. But my job is to ask the questions and to keep a client on track as to, you know, what might this dream be all about. By the way, the emotion in the dream is just as important as any individual image. Riding a blue bicycle down a dark street, for instance, might elicit an emotion of fear. So we look at fear like we look at any of the other elements of the dream. What are you afraid of? What's causing you fear now?
It might not necessarily be the bike in the dark.
No.
It could be something completely
It could be
different.
something completely different.
Are we dreaming for long lifetimes and not, we're not aware that we're dreaming, or that we're not aware of what we're dreaming and we just kind of meander through life like that?
Some folks do, yes, indeed. So our culture today is so oriented toward extroverted kind of stimulation, you know, and we're not as apt to look inside as we are to look outside, to be entertained, to be stimulated, you know, to be informed. And so our orientation is more outside. Dream work requires us to put our orientation back inside, to see what's going on inside of ourselves. It's just, you know, not done as much in our culture as it used to be maybe once upon a time before there was media at our fingertips all the time.
So if you would give advice to someone out there, if they were dreaming and they wanted to make some sense of it, they should write down the dream,
Yes.
try to remember the dream, write it down, and do this over a period of time.
Yes.
And when they think about the various things they're dreaming about, draw associations from that.
Do that for a little while, and then do something different. And here's what I mean by that. Do something to honor the dream or to answer the dream in the language of the dream. In other words, do something creative. So you can analyze the dream for a little bit, but then stop and draw it instead. Make something. You know, if you dreamed about a blue bicycle, draw a blue bicycle, or get a photograph of a blue bicycle, or go for a ride on a blue bicycle. Do something to honor the dream. Does that, do you see what
Kind
I'm
of
saying?
materialize it?
Yeah, exactly.
And what happens then?
Wait for the next dream.
I see.
It becomes a conversation.
So you've been working in this field for many years, right?
I have. Yeah, I have kept a dream journal for over 30 years. I was introduced to dream work by an Episcopal priest 32 years ago. I have facilitated dream groups at my church for 15 years. I've taught workshops for about dreams and dreaming for about that long. And I've been in private practice about 10 years, private counseling practice about 10 years.
You do workshops, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, now if anyone would like more information on workshops, what is your contact email or let's say website?
Sure. Website is www.dreamcounselor.ms, and I will have my workshop schedule there. My next workshop is not until next spring, March 12th, which is a Saturday, and it'll be part of the Millsaps Community Enrichment Program.
And that's a pretty progressive program. I've noticed a lot of interesting things being taught there. And this is a great addition. It's a very interesting topic. Well, we'd like to thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And
Thank
we'd
you.
like to have you back as we
Love
go
to.
forward. We'll talk more about it. Maybe we'll take the next chapter.
Okay,
Whatever
sounds
that
great.
might be, okay?
All right,
Okay,
sounds
Karen,
good.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll be back after this.
We'll be right back with more of Nightique after these messages.
This is our Gray's Box. It's a great way to snack. Fresh, tasty, and created using only the best ingredients. Choose from our range of over 90 delicious snacks. We'd like to invite you to try a hand-picked box for free. Go to grays.com and we'll send a free box directly to your office or home. It may even help you keep your hand out of the cookie jar.
Go to grays.com and enter the code GRAYS34 for a free box.
Grays.com. Snacking reinvented.
This is important news for people who have suffered serious infections after hip or knee replacement surgeries or open heart surgery. Your infection may be the result of a device used in the operating room. If you suffered an infection that led to hospitalization or surgery after your hip or knee replacement or after open heart surgery, call the law offices of Davis & Crump at the number below right now to find out if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Our first consultation is free, and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call now.
When you are looking to further your education, there's only one university that towers above the rest, Jackson State University. Jackson State University is one of the leading universities in research, technology, and innovation, graduating more than 1,300 students annually and a consistent growth in revenue. Jackson State University is ranked #1 amongst the HBCUs in research and development. Make the right choice, the one choice, one Jackson State University, changing lives one student at a time.
Ingalls Shipbuilding has pioneered the development and production of technologically advanced, highly capable warships for the U.S. Navy, Coast Guard, and Marine Corps for more than 75 years. Ingalls is Mississippi's largest manufacturing employer, and today Ingalls has an immediate need for more than 200 electricians at our Pascagoula, Mississippi site. Apply today at www.buildyourcareer.com or call 888-935-1507.
And now back to more Nightique.
Patricia Bullock Williams, thank you for being with us.
Hi, how are you
for
doing?
this edition of Nightique.
Okay, good to be back.
Now you are one of the founders, the founder of the Mars Network,
yes,
which is on
Facebook. Yes.
Okay, and so you've been researching Mars and things revolving around anomalies that are found on Mars for how long?
Probably around 5 to 6 years.
And why? What got you interested in this?
I've always had an interest in space. Probably started when my sister-in-law's uncle was actually Stuart Roosa from Apollo 14. So of course, just being more aware and being around him, of course I was 4th and 5th grade when all this was going on, and now I could kick myself for not asking more questions from him. So so they would always go to the launches, and my sister got to go. I didn't, but I've always had an interest in space. And
what does it mean, these recent revelations from NASA that we've got flowing water on Mars, to you? What does that tell you?
I'm thinking that they are getting closer to some very big discoveries. I think they are announcing every day. You read on the internet that they've made more and more strides, and they're actually doing a contest. You can win up to something like $10,000 about how to build structures for people to live on Mars, and it's open to the public. So these wonderful things, and every day there's more and more pushing about Mars. People are excited again about possibly going there. I mean, it's 3.9 million miles away. And to imagine there's water, flowing water there, which would mean life is a lot more possible suddenly. Yes. And also, they have also found water on Pluto, ice water on Pluto, and Pluto even has a blue atmosphere. Like us? Like us. Amazing. Yeah, so it's just phenomenal how much stuff, and they even found water on the moon. Ice water on the moon. So they're thinking possibly that might have come from some asteroids or something like that, or meteors, but we have water. If there's water on the moon, they could actually do a base on the moon and be able to go on, from there, It's an extraordinary time. Yes, and now we have the European Space Agency and Russia are working together to go ahead and put people back on the moon and on their way to Mars. So we have more than just NASA. We have India, China, all these different countries, and we need to all work together to really get this going. So this year, Mississippi International Film Festival, we're calling it Off-World 2015, yes. Off-World Festival. Off-World, what does that mean, Off-World?
the things that go on off this planet.
Off-world. Yeah, it's really interesting because off-world, in conspiracy theories, people have apparently found lists of off-world personnel, lists. So when I heard that it was off-world, I thought, that reminds me of
So explain that a
off-world.
little further. What does that mean?
Some people apparently think that people are already on Mars through time travel and things like that, and people have found lists where they actually were listed out as people that were off-world personnel. And that's part of Andrew Bashago, who is the president of Mars Anomaly Research Society. He worked for DARPA, and he's was part of that time travel part that has been on the news, going to Mars, and apparently Barack Obama was there with them too. Now, you can laugh over that, but what's strange is that the White House actually addressed that and said that he did not go, which usually they ignore those kind of things. So, yeah.
Now, this year at the film festival, Linda Moulton Howe is going to come in as a meet and greet for her on Friday night, right, November 13th at the Courtyard Marriott next to the Tinseltown in Pearl, Mississippi. And then her film, Earth Files, is going to show on Saturday night at the Tinseltown Theater at, I think, 7:30 p.m.
Is that the Gulbecki Tepe one?
I think it is, yes.
Yes, that's supposed to be wonderful.
So tell us a little bit about Linda Moulton Howe. You know about her work.
She's an award-winning journalist. She's won an Emmy. She was actually, I think, a runner-up for Miss America. She's just a fascinating woman. You see her almost every couple of days on Ancient Aliens. She also has her radio show, Earth Files. She also is on with Whitley Strieber almost every day. She also has a radio show on KGRA on the internet with John Burroughs. But what she's done now is Gulbecki Tepe is a site in Turkey that's somewhere between 7,000 and 11,000 years old. It is so much older than Stonehenge, and it is huge. And some people think it's an ancient temple, or what exactly is there. There's carvings that go way back from what was previously could have been thought of happening. So it's going to be very exciting. I'm excited to see her film.
And she's done research in documentary films on crop circles.
Cattle mutilation.
And cattle mutilation.
Yeah.
And I looked at another film she did recently, and it was about the cattle mutilation and crop circles. It's amazing stuff, it really is.
And she also worked a lot with Rendlesham Forest case,
Right.
as well as...
Now Rendlesham Forest, Pat Fresconia, as an attorney, worked with the person who was affected at Rendlesham Forest.
And I have too. I actually helped with the book too. I redid the Halt transcript for that book.
In Rendlesham Forest, tell us briefly what that was all about.
Well, in December 26, 1980, there was Air Force Base, 2 Air Force bases that were American, and there was a forest in between. It was during the Cold War, and they thought an airplane had gone down. And Jim Penniston, John Burroughs were sent out to, along with someone else, Bastenza, were sent out to investigate it. John stayed here, but Jim Penniston actually went up and touched the vehicle. And he took notes. He was in charge, so he actually took notes. There's glyphs all around the vehicle. And
on the vehicle?
On the vehicle. At first he was like, please say NASA, as he's going around, because this strange triangular craft. And then as he's going around, he's like, just please say anything, but instead it was actual glyphs, almost like hieroglyphs. He ran his hand over it, and as he did, he got downloaded with this information of zeros and ones. They haunted him all night long. So he wrote them down in his notebook that night and put them in the back of his notebook, because he's a military security force for a top secret base.
Right.
I cannot confirm or deny what I just said. And so if he had allowed those zeros and ones to have come out, they would have, probably locked him up or sent them off, or, And it wasn't until Linda Moulton Howe and John Burroughs, at a filming of an Ancient Aliens thing, John Burroughs asked a question. He looked back in his notebook. John Burroughs saw those zeros and ones back there. He said, what are those? Nothing. And so Linda and him had him go ahead and translate them, because in 1980, He hadn't gone to college yet. He didn't know what binary was. And it ends up being these sites around the world, and it says Exploration of Humanity, and it gives the year 81,000. So basically this is time travel. And one of the sites is Sedona, and I got to go out and actually find the site with them. A group of us went out to the original one of those sites. It was very interesting. The energy was very, very strong. But the other sites are in Giza, by the pyramids, not right on the pyramids. Let's see, Naxos, Greece, China. I'm going to miss something, I know. Belize and Peru.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now Linda Moulton will be available to meet at the meet and greet.
Yeah.
That's at the Courtyard. That's Friday, November 13th.
And what a great price. I mean, for $15 to get to actually talk to Linda Moulton Howe and have a drink with her and some hors d'oeuvres, and just to spend that time, and then it's only $10 for the whole day.
For the films, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For the film festival,
and then
which
we
is
also
Saturday.
have the Memphis UFO.
And we have the Memphis UFOs over Memphis film.
Yeah.
WKNO in Memphis did that film. We'll be showing that Saturday night.
Fabulous.
So
yeah.
information is at msfilm.org, and you can find out everything about. And there's acting workshops, and a whole slate of films on Saturday. And you'll be there, and we'll be able to talk to you some more about what's going on Mars there, and very interesting stuff.
Yeah, especially since we have Mars as our logo, the face of Sedonia.
Well, we have the face on Mars as the logo at the website. And that's a whole other anomaly.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
There's been pyramids that have been found around that. So.
Around that. Amazing.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with more of Nightique after these messages.
When you are looking to further your education, there's only one university that towers above the rest, Jackson State University. Jackson State University is one of the leading universities in research, technology, and innovation, graduating more than 1,300 students annually and a consistent growth in revenue. Jackson State University is ranked #1 amongst the HBCUs in research and development. Make the right choice, the one choice, one Jackson State University, changing lives one student at a time.
And now back to more Nightique. Join us every weeknight statewide for Nightique with Edward St. Pé. If you have suggestions for guests or want to be on the show yourself, drop us a line at www.nightique.com. I'm your announcer, Jim Pollard. Good night from all of us at Nightique.